Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. This is my thank you Taker video. Today, Undertaker announces retirement officially in the last episode of The Last Ride, basically saying that AJ Styles called him up and asked him to work a match at WrestleMania. Undertaker came back and worked the match at Mania, and even though it wasn't really a real match with the whole boneyard match, wrestling inside of the graveyard and it sort of being set up like a movie. It took him 8 hours to film this 30-minute match one night. You know, he's not really going out inside of the ring or inside of an arena with fans. He says that if that's it, that's it. He's basically not looking for the next thing. You know, before we get into whole talking about Undertaker and what he means to me and all that jazz, I'll just throw it out right now. I don't think that's the end of the Undertaker character. We've seen with the Boneyard match at WrestleMania, we've seen Money in the Bank happen at the actual WWE studios, or not really the studios, but the actual building that they have business happen in. You know, if that's you're really the way matches are going to start going. Even that NXT Adam Cole match with Velveteen Dream was set up that way. The backyard brawl or backlot brawl. I think Undertaker could have another match, no problem. I think Undertaker could have a match against Hogan. Undertaker could have a match against Sting. Undertaker could have a match with anybody on the main roster. Where basically, you know, they could be just going through what they want to do. They can set up crash pads. They can do all kinds of things to protect these guys and have them go out and do things. I think that more than likely we'll see Undertaker do something on Raw. We'll see him on a WrestleMania. We'll see him at a SummerSlam, Survivor Series. Anytime that Vince needs a favor, Undertaker's going to be there. He's been that company guy for 30 years, since 1990. And, you know, he was one of the guys that never packed up his bags and went to WCW. I think he's going to be there for the longest time. Taker came in during the 90s. He was the mystery man at the Survivor Series on Ted DiBiase's team. He wrestled a year. I can't really tell you any of his first feuds. I know he wrestled with Jimmy Snuka at his first WrestleMania. Had a feud against Jake the Snake Roberts. But he won the championship at Survivor Series the exact next year, a year after he debuted in the company. First guy to beat Hogan since Andre and DiBiase duped him out of the title to set up WrestleMania 4. So that really, honestly, was a real big deal, even though Hulkamania was kind of coming towards its end and having, you know, one more big burst. Once Hogan was able to get the championship back and have the big WrestleMania where he had the match against Sergeant Slaughter at WrestleMania 7. I'm hoping I'm setting these years up right. But, you know, after he won the championship, he lost the next night, which set up Tuesday in Texas, which then set up the Ric Flair Royal Rumble 1992. You know, Undertaker was out of the title picture until WrestleMania. The ones that I don't really remember, I think WrestleMania 11? No, 12. WrestleMania 12, he wins the belt. And that was kind of like, because there was nobody else really to go up against Psycho Sid. You look at 12, I think Shawn Michaels isn't there. Is that the year that he lost his smile because he didn't want to wrestle against Bret Hart and sort of, you know, pay him back for WrestleMania 11? You know, that he just was kind of the guy, so they gave him the belt. His run really, honestly, wasn't really that memorable. I think he lost the belt almost as soon as he got it. They never really wanted him to be the championship guy because they looked at him the same way I looked at him. Undertaker was a gimmick, and it just basically was him being the dead man until, you know, Kane came around. I'm not sure really what year that would be, but that would be around WrestleMania 14 when they started the Undertaker-Kane brothers storyline with Paul Bearer, Undertaker's dead parents, the funeral parlor. Honestly, one of the best stories that they've ever told in WWE, and they've never gone away from it. They've never changed it. So many stories, you know, WWE's tried to write, gets to a spot where they just don't like it anymore. They just completely change it. Brothers are no longer brothers, and friends are no longer friends. These guys are foes. But, you know, Undertaker and Kane had the best storyline where they would beat the hell out of each other. But if anybody started trouble, they had each other's back. That's just basically the way that it was. Taker's career really picked up, honestly, around WrestleMania. Shoot. Which one was the one against Batista? Would that be 22? 21, I believe, was against Henry. If 21 was in Chicago, I'm pretty damn sure that's the way it was. No, 22 was in Chicago. So 23, Undertaker versus Batista. That is when Undertaker just goes on these year-long quests of having the best match at WrestleMania. Basically, he beats Batista at 23. He beats Edge at 24. Michaels at 25 and 26. Triple H at 27, 28. And then we had CM Punk at 29. Easily best match of the whole WrestleMania each and every year. Bam, bam, bam. Just stamping them out. But Taker, after that, the career sort of took a downfall. WrestleMania 30, he has a concussion very early in the match. The storyline was that he was always going to lose to Brock, but I don't think the match was as good as it should have been. But it was very much shocking. Easily one of the biggest things of the last 10, 15 years. Really shocking in wrestling is that Undertaker loses at WrestleMania. Nobody saw it happening. Brock Lesnar, big name in WWE, big name in UFC. Somebody had to beat him, and Undertaker, he didn't really throw a fit about it. He kind of questioned Vince, made sure this was the right move that they want to do, and when Vince said this is the best thing, who else is going to do it? Undertaker went out there and did it. He didn't do the Shawn Michaels, lost his smile. He didn't do the Bret Hart pout, and basically throw creative control out there or anything like that. Undertaker, WrestleMania 30, had made tons of money in wrestling. If he didn't want to lose that match, could have packed his bags, went home, and who cares? I mean, no big deal. Nobody's going to think of Undertaker any other way, and he went out there and did it. The company man, just like how WrestleMania 14, the story is that people thought Shawn Michaels was going to go out there and do the job for Stone Cold Steve Austin, and they say that Undertaker was sitting at the desk, basically just taping up his fists. They're in gorilla position, and if Shawn had a problem, Undertaker was going to make sure that business got taken care of. Some people think that's real, some people think it's not, but with him being the locker room leader, I tend to believe something happened like that to make people believe that actually happened. But after that, Undertaker wrestles at WrestleMania 31 against Bray Wyatt. People sort of think that the writing is on the wall, even though it's a year and a half later. Undertaker returns and takes on Brock Lesnar at Hell in the Cell, which then turns into Undertaker and Kane versus the Wyatts at Survivor Series. Wrestles a series of matches instead of just wrestling the one and done. And I think that was setting up WrestleMania 32. The match with Shane. A lot of people thought that might be the career match. It was a Hell in the Cell match. It really didn't make a lot of sense. It didn't make a lot of sense that Shane didn't win, even with all the stipulations that were set up against it. But hey, it is what it is. Taker gets a win at WrestleMania, and I'm not sure if they were building the streak again or something like that. I thought they might set up something sort of like the Ric Flair storyline, where he could keep wrestling in WWE until he lost, and maybe that would put a big emphasis on an Undertaker loss somewhere down the road, but that it wasn't meant to be. 33, he wrestles the 2-minute match against John Cena. WrestleMania 34, he wrestles what we thought was a career-ending match against Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns beats Taker in the main event. He leaves the coat, the hat, the gloves in the ring. Turns out that wasn't it for Taker. He takes a year off. He doesn't wrestle WrestleMania, but he comes out at the Raw after. Some people thought that was going to be it, but then dusted it off to come back, have the best match in my opinion at WrestleMania. Wasn't in the ring. It was on a sound stage or a set or whatever you want to call it, but I'll give it to you. Badass. And I think that honestly they come up with an idea. It could be a month, 2 months, 3 months, 2 years down the road. Something close to that. Taker's going to be there. Next big Monday Night Raw where they need a surprise or something to emphasize the past of the WWE, Taker's one of the biggest names to do it. He's not in my top 10. Nah, I mean, he's probably in my top 10. Definitely not in my top 5. I think that all those years early in his career when he was just basically a gimmick, wrestling on Superstars, just, you know, killing guys even though we thought he was a dead man, I think that's what I sort of count against him. He really poured it on in the later years of the career. I think that's what put him in that legend status. But definitely, if this is it, I mean, we could be looking at WrestleMania 37, Undertaker, WWE Hall of Fame. Who would have known? Wow. Peace out, guys.